Hey guys, here to share more bad poetry. So, like I said, I'm just going through my journals, so you're kind of getting a chronological view of my poetic existence and a little bit of the inside of my life growing up. Like I said, this one is poorly titled. I literally just named it Unknown. So, that feels really dumb. But, anyways, like I said, this was written at the same time, on the same day actually, as the last poem that I shared with you guys. I don't really know what to say about this one. I barely even looked over it at this point, so I'm just gonna read it off of my journal pages from 17-year-old me and see what happens. So here we go. Here is Unknown. Oh, wait. Actually, I just read the first line, and I actually remember what this is about. Um, so, yeah, like I said, this was when I was 17. This is when I was getting ready to go off to college, and I was kind of worried, honestly. I didn't really have a good idea of who I was. I still don't, honestly. I'm still figuring it out, doing my best to be whoever I am, whatever that means. But this was basically me worrying about who I was going to be once I left for school, because I did go to college in my freshman year out of state. I wasn't going to be near my family or any of my friends, anybody that I knew. It was all just going to be a big, brand new adventure. And so I was kind of worried. I didn't have any boundaries or restrictions anymore. Nobody telling me where to go or asking me who I was going to be with or monitoring who my friends were. You know, it was just my first real big taste of freedom. And this is kind of me wondering what I was going to turn into, who I was going to be like. I grew up very, very religious. I'm not really religious anymore, but that shaped a lot of who I was growing up. I was very much a do it by the book person. I firmly believed in rules growing up. Um, you would honestly find me being the person. It was very much mom like. I've always been the mom group or the mom of my friend groups from then until now. Honestly, I'm still that way. I can't help myself. Anyways, so yeah, this was just my big taste of freedom. I was kind of worried about what I was going to turn into. You know, everyone always said that as soon as you give a very sheltered child or a religious child or a religious sheltered child a taste of freedom, they're going to go bonkers. They're going to go nuts. They're going to go opposite of everything they've ever dreamed of, everything they ever thought they were, and they're just going to turn out completely different. And I guess I was kind of scared of that, and also I wanted to know what that would be like. You know, I was like, who would I be if I was just somebody completely different? Sorry, my phone again. Um, Sorry, I'm reading the message that I just got sent, and it's kind of funny and honestly really sweet. K, KB, you know who you are. Um, I I hope you know how much I think that you and MH are just like the best people ever. I'm so glad I found you. Um, Sorry for derailing my video a little bit for anybody that isn't KB or MH who decides to watch this, or me whenever I'm feeling nostalgic. Anywho, so like I said, this is just a poem about me kind of wondering who I was going to be once I didn't have any restrictions, and I had freedom to be who I was, and just trying to figure out who I was going to be, what that was going to look like. So yeah, here's Unknown. always, always following orders, for this is who I am. The real me stays unknown. Who will I become with no one standing over my shoulder? Will I be someone to remember? Will I fade away? Perhaps I will always be the unknown face in someone's day. I do not wish for people to remember me for the wrong reasons. Perhaps I will be able to reflect the sun as well as the sun. Remember, I was religious, so Son of God. Anywho. I cannot help but imagine who I will become, but it remains unknown. Inside these walls, I feel alone. The chance to break away seems so far. Who knew waiting could be so hard? Take me away from this place, the place where I've accumulated so much disgrace. It is not just freedom I long for. Surely someone out there could love me to my very core. But alas, this also remains unknown. Okay, that's the end. Oh, dear God. I hate reading over this stuff sometimes. Like, it's kind of cool to see how much I've grown and changed, but apparently I really loved the word alas. I used to think I was really cool for using old-timey words, big words, especially nonetheless. Honestly, to this day, I still love the word nonetheless. But yeah, like I said, so this comment in here about take me away from this place where I've accumulated so much disgrace. Like I said, this is still from when I was about 17. When I was growing up, I know you guys came here for poetry. That was what this was made for. But, you know, it is kind of fun to share some backstory, so we're just going to go with it. But yeah, so as far as this, like, disgrace comment goes, so the year before this, when I was 16, I had a really good friend. Well, I say really good friend. We were off and on friends. It was really complicated. I had a lot of drama in my friend group as a teenager, but it's whatever. So yeah, I had this friend who was getting very concerned about me. I shared a lot of things with my friends that I didn't share with anyone else, such as my family. And one of those things being my depression and my bad coping mechanisms for dealing with that, which were self-harm. So I had friends that knew about it. But it was generally superficial for the most part. I know this is going to get a little bit graphic, but mostly it was for just the sting. I was a cutter. I started around the age of 13, and I continued on that path until I was found out at 16. But yeah, it was a coping mechanism for me. Like I said, it was mostly about the sting. I honestly felt that I hid so much of myself and so much of my feelings from the people who were closest to me that I honestly felt like I was hurting so much inside that I didn't know how else to deal with it. Hurting my body was kind of a way of relieving the pain that was inside my mind and my heart. And while it wasn't the best plan, it was the dumb plan that teenage me thought was a good one. So yeah, at age 16, that friend that I was telling you about actually went to my parents, and they had become concerned because at one point this person was like me, and then they got clean, because I don't know whether anyone else believes this or not, but I believe self-harm can actually become an addiction, because at the point that I was found out, sorry, transferring hands, my arm's getting tired, but no, at the time that I was found out about this, and everything came out in the open, it was to the point of becoming an addiction for me, because you know, as soon as I woke up, it was the first thing I did. It's the first thing I thought about. And honestly, my parents weren't home very much during this time period in my life. They were both working. I was the one taking care of the house, because I was homeschooled. So I was doing homework, I was taking care of the house, I was making dinners, I was making lunches, and dealing with my own depression on top of all of that. And I was just very overwhelmed, and I didn't have a way of dealing with it. But like I said, I was home a lot of the time by myself, so it was the first thing I did when I woke up, several times throughout the day, and then it was the last thing I did before I went to bed at night. So yeah, I think that qualifies as an addiction at that point. But like I said, a friend got concerned for me, and they told my parents. So that happened when I was 16, and it caused a lot of issues between me and my family. Um, it caused a lot of inner turmoil for me because I never learned healthy coping mechanisms. I never went to therapy or anything like that. Honestly, like I said, I did grow up religious, and when my parents found out about it, instead of getting the real help I needed, I just kind of got shoved off towards my youth pastor, which helped in a way. It did give me someone to talk to without a lot of that judgment that I really expected to hear. But I honestly believe therapy would have helped a lot more. But I grew up pretty poor, so I knew we probably couldn't afford it, even if they wanted to give it for me. So it is what it is. But a lot of times during this time frame, my mom was trying to convince me to be friends with other people who I knew and would loosely consider friends, but people she thought were the good influence. And honestly, I felt more like I would be a bad influence on them if I were to try and pursue friendships with them. And I tried to keep my distance as much as possible because I felt like I would ruin other people. And I was worried like I was contagious or something, you know? And I've always had this theory about self harm. I guess it's kind of the way my mind is wired based on the fact that I was a psychology major. It's kind of the way I think and the way I think. But even growing up, I kind of thought that if you were exposed to someone who had self harm issues, like if you knew someone that self harmed, even if you didn't see them do it, if you knew they did it, that it would influence your likelihood to do so in the future if you ever got to that point. And so, um, even if I were to be friends with people that my mother wanted me to be, I felt like I would be the bad influence on them because not only was I worried about being a bad influence, but I felt like at this point the self harm in my life defined me. Um, for whatever reason, that was my defining factor at that point in my life. And I felt like if I was going to be friends with somebody, they ought to know about it. And of course, I'm not going to tell somebody about it if I think it's going to make them do it, because even if I did it, doesn't mean I think it's a good idea. I knew it was dumb and I still did it. I was a teenager, of course I did dumb shit. But yeah, even if I knew that it was a bad idea for me even to do it, then I wouldn't wish that on anyone. If I had the opportunity to not influence anyone in that way, I wasn't going to. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to kind of clarify that because I know it was really vague, especially because all my poems have been mostly ooh lovey dovey and all about love and boys and dumb stuff. So just wanted to kind of give a clarifier on that. And just so you know, um, when my friend told my parents about my self harm at 16, I was clean for 8 years. And I actually relapsed and hurt myself um, in November of this past year. And it was a very sad day for me to see 8 years go down the drain. But I've been clean ever since. Relapse is part of recovery, I guess. But I'm doing my best to use healthy coping mechanisms, and I don't want you guys to worry about me too much. Like I said, this is more than I really intended to share, but apparently, I guess I thought my brain thinks I have a lot of things to say. Um, it's not things I'm really proud of, but they're part of what's shaped me into who I am now. There goes my phone again. Love you guys. But Yeah. I guess I'm gonna get off here now. I kind of talked myself into an awkward silence. So I'm gonna go, but anybody that keeps watching these, thanks for that. Um, Means a lot to have somebody listen, even if I don't know who you are and you're just number of views on a page. So thanks for listening. Remember, you're beautiful. I love you, even if I don't know you. Remember, even though I did it, self-harm's not the answer. Don't be afraid to seek help. I'm seeking help right now. I'm currently taking antidepressants because I got worse than I'd ever been, and I wasn't afraid to reach out for help apart from worried that they would commit me. But I got beyond that fear and got the help I needed. I feel a lot more like a normal person again. So yeah, um, I'm always here if you need me. I don't care if I don't know you.